elections impact on India, how the Indian economy will be affected, whether it will be pro or there will be consequences. We will discuss today all the aspects related to the US election system and how this India-UF relations will be impacted. And for the discussion, we have the NEXT IAS panel. I will just give the brief introduction. Welcome. We have the R.C. Sinha sir, then we have the Piyush Chaubey sir, Neeraj Kumar and Ravi Kaushik. And dear friends, I am B. Singh, founder and director, NEXT IAS. People say Donald Trump has a weak temperament, but strong policies. How these policies will impact to the India's relation, India-UF relations, and how the India will have an advantage with the Trump's policy towards China, because people believe that, and that was the Trump 1.0 impact, that India was benefited due to the Trump's policy of China. तो आज इन सब बातों पे बात करेंगे और सबसे पहले बात करते हैं how the election system of US works and how it is different from the India's system. तो नीरज, to you first, कि US का election process क्या है, preferential election?
सर, US का president election direct election होता है, where the people of the US, the citizens of USA basically, they are voting directly for the American president. Now when we look at the election, first of all, what happens is that the voters are voting for an electoral college. Each state in USA, for example, we have currently 50 states in USA. On the basis of their population, they have been allocated some electors in the as a member of the electoral college.
Right.
So what happens is the total number of members in the electoral college currently is 538. So the president's candidate who gets 270 electors in their favor wins this election. Now what happens is every state, they have a different method of election. Ultimately, how the voters are going for their voting and how the votes are counted, all of them vary across the state, because the constitution does not give the details of the election process. It only gives some basic qualification about the voters, that is the age is 18 and there are some grounds on which discrimination cannot be done. After that, it has been left for the states. So each state is having a number of electors, and what happens is when a candidate in the election wins the popular vote in that state, for example, suppose there are two candidates, the main candidates, Republican and Democrats. So one who wins the election in that state in terms of total number of votes polled, that candidate gets the right to get all the electors in that favor. So what happens is अगर आपने एक स्टेट में पॉपुलर मैंडेट जीता तो उस स्टेट के जितने भी इलेक्टर्स हैं वो आपके हो जाते हैं. So as a result, whole state votes for either one candidate or the other candidate. So currently the results which have been declared till now, because in US the election counting goes for a long time. So some states have already finalized the result, but in some states it is still continuing, because most of the votes are voted through paper ballot, and the counting is also manual in many cases. Plus there is a provision of large number of people who can vote through postal ballot also. And there is no restriction on postal ballots even accepted after the date of election, that is 5th November.
What are the political governing bodies of US?
Sir, when we look at the American system, it is having a presidential form of government where president is directly elected by this election.
Right.
But at the same time, US is also having election for the members of their federal legislature, which comprises of which we call as the Congress, where there are two houses. The upper house is the Senate, and the lower house is called as the House of Representatives.
Correct.
So election for both those houses were also conducted along with this election. So the house
and even the governors are elected.
In the states, they have governors who are very similar to the states we have,
right,
but they have their own elections. Some of them are also timed along with the president's elections only.
Right.
So, sir, if we look at the election of the House of Representatives and House of Senate, sir, House of Representatives is the lower house where territorial constituencies are divided in each state, and people are voting for the members of the House of Representatives. They are elected for a term of 2 years.
So US is the perfect example of the one nation, one election.
Yes, sir. A kind of one nation, one election है, और साथ में one nation, two elections भी बोल सकते हैं, sir. Because वहाँ पे
but at a time they are conducting.
हाँ, at a time ये सारे elections हैं, but sir वहाँ पे हर 2 साल में वहाँ की House of Representatives में फिर से election होता है, जिसको वहाँ general election बोलते हैं.
Right.
And Senate में sir Senate में constituency wise elections वैसे नहीं होते हैं, but each state is having their own method of election, but they are having a direct election for Senate where 2 seats are fixed for every state. And representatives में seats vary करते हैं according to their population. Currently House of Representatives में 435 seats हैं, sir.
Piyush, I will come to you. What was the controversy related to the election manifesto of the Trump?
Okay. So, first important thing, what was the Trump's manifesto?
Manifesto, right.
So, first important was like immigration. He openly said that he will stop the immigration, and not exactly stop, but illegal immigrants has to go. And definitely we witnessed earlier also the rejection of H-1B visa application forms. Just give one data. Earlier rejection was around 2 to 3%, but at the time of Trump it was 28%. 20%. There is a huge difference was that. The second important political agenda was maintaining peace across the world, and he was more interested to stop the war that is going in Ukraine and what is happening in the Middle East. Some internal issues, he talked about stop outsourcing, he talked about establishing new towns. He was highly focused on making America as an energy rich country, and he avoided what I would say like a green energy concept, and he said that he allowed the local people the drilling rights over there. I mean, these are the new things what he proposed. But this his election manifesto was in controversy because at the same time Heritage Foundation released a Project 25 document. In that particular document, I would say that was a neoconservative document. In that particular document, there are so many things they have mentioned which was controversial, but that is the style of Trump. Like first, they said that we should have a unitary kind of executive basically. Proposal was that multiple departments which are relatively independent, like Justice Department of America, that should also come directly under the control of the American president. And the state administration, specifically bureaucracy, that should completely come under the tight control of American president. That was something one of the controversial idea proposed that. The second was banning abortion. Although there was no direct campaign against it, but they proposed to ban some of the abortion pills to be freely available in the market and details while selling and purchasing it basically. And third, as I said, that green energy concept, they completely deny the idea of the green energy concept. Then
so this was the manifesto,
and these are the Project 25.
Right.
These are very controversial, and Trump in the initial stage of campaign tried to say that he is not following that. And one of the crucial agenda was woke propaganda basically. That was the school reforms, and he's talked about the school should be completely in the control of the parents basically, and he talked about, he was against even the diversity, he want to cut down the scholarship also the people who are studying over there, and just want to ensure that American school should go along this American values and American cultures. So this woke propaganda could be curtailed down to certain extent. That was rejected across the America. This is a Heritage Foundation document, but in reality Heritage Foundation claimed that 2/3 of their agenda has been directly or indirectly adopted by Trump administration.
Sinha ji?
Yes.
India has been closer to the erstwhile USSR. In bipolar world, you have to take a side. Either you follow brother or you follow brother-in-law. So now the choice is to who is more closer, brother or brother-in-law. Now India has a big challenge to maintain the relationship with USA and with Russia. अब आप क्या सोचते हैं कि what will be the approach and what are the reasons for this challenge?
So first and foremost thing I would like to highlight into points for easy understanding of the aspirants. I would like to highlight in 3 aspects: bipolar, unipolar and multipolar world. In bipolar world, India initially tried to maintain equal distance from both the superpowers. कि माँ से भी दूर रहना है, पापा से भी दूर रहना है, दोनों को खुश भी रखना है. So it was not neutrality, trying to make either happy. Milestone is in 1971 war, Indo-Pak war, in which USA, led by President Nixon, issued nuclear warning to India by deploying 7th Fleet around India, Bay of Bengal. That is the milestone in India. India can never forget that. And first ever till date, India sent SOS to Soviet. Then it was Leonid Brezhnev, he was president. And as per the Indo-Soviet deal, August 1971, that was 20-year deal, in which Soviet has got ready to provide a military intervention also if third party threatens India. Sir, what happened? A 3rd December war broke out, Indo-Pak war, 1971. Within 2-3 days, as soon as nuclear warship, 7th Fleet, that is still very deadly nuclear power fleet, deployed in Bay of Bengal. Indira Gandhi sent, India of course sent SOS to Soviet, and Soviet immediately deployed nuclear warship all around India. That is referred as sir gunboat diplomacy. Both the superpower after Second World War, it was first time both the superpower came face to face with all nuclear weapons, but they avoided war. Had they confronted, it would have become Third World War. That is the milestone India always remembered. From that point, India became very close to Soviet as friend in need, friend indeed.
Indeed.
But thereafter, sir, Indira Gandhi was not only pro-Soviet, she was anti-US. But in 1982, Indira Gandhi surprised everyone by visiting US, and Ronald Reagan, then President of US, warm welcome, extended warm welcome to Indira Gandhi, table change. Along with his wife, he came out of White House, violating all the protocol. Indira Gandhi was welcome. But that point was just like Narendra Modi, Joe Biden asking from backside. In fact, they are getting business. In 1982 also, India started giving business to US by fabrication of multi-purpose communication satellites. India started in 1982 INSAT program. In the INSAT program, sir, we had been confined to only paper design of satellite. It was Ford Aerospace Communication Corporation USA that started manufacturing our multi-purpose satellite, and it was Kennedy Space Center, Florida, USA, that started launching. So they got business, we got technology. Because of that, we came closer, but not at the cost of Soviet. We always, even Rajiv Gandhi, after visiting US, immediately visited Moscow to convey that our Indo-US relationship will never grow at the cost of Indo-Soviet.
Right.
But sir, thereafter I would like to highlight unipolar world. After fall of Soviet Union, USA started showing colors. That yes, कि अब मेरे पिताजी रिटायर हो गए, हम तो अभी काम कर रहे हैं, तो हमारे को कलर दिखाना शुरू कर दिए. Unipolar world में India was totally isolated from 1991 to 2001. But I should not say, but I would like to say, 9/11 जो हुआ सर, तो 9/11 ने पूरे वर्ल्ड को ही नहीं चौंका दिया. अमेरिका, द मोस्ट पावरफुल कंट्री ऑन दिस प्लेनेट इन यूनिपोलर वर्ल्ड, गॉट डिवास्टेटेड एंड दे कुड नॉट गेट एनी इंफॉर्मेशन. इवन सर, वन इंटरेस्टिंग एस्पेक्ट आई वुड लाइक टू शेयर हियर सर, कि फ्लाइंग स्कूल से FBI को एक फीडबैक मिला था कि 4 ऐसे मिडिल ईस्ट से आए हैं फ्लायर जो कि टेक ऑफ में तो इंटरेस्ट लेते हैं लेकिन लैंडिंग में कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं लेते हैं. FBI ने कहा रबिश, लेकिन वही 4 थे जिनको लैंड नहीं करना था. उन्होंने प्लेन हाईजैक किया और हिट कर दिया. 9/11 के बाद US बुश एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कैरी आउट मैसिव मिलिट्री ऑपरेशन. दे डिड नॉट फाइंड आउट एनीवेयर. इट वाज प्रेस्टीज इशू फॉर देम. नेचुरली दे फाइंड इंडिया की, इंडिया वहाँ बैठा है जियोपॉलिटिकली, क्योंकि सर सेंट्रल दिल्ली का DC, डिप्टी कमिश्नर पुलिस, नॉर्थ दिल्ली में काम नहीं कर पाएगा जब तक नॉर्थ दिल्ली का इन्फॉर्मर उसको ना मिले.
राइट.
तो इंडिया ने एक तरह से, अर्लियर इंडिया नीडेड US, नाउ US नीडेड इंडिया. और वहाँ
कट शॉर्ट कर लें थोड़ा.
जी 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 जी.
तो
उसके बाद सर एक चीज़ जोड़ना चाहूँगा. उसी के चलते क्या हुआ कि इंडिया को, जैसे इंडिया ने सपोर्ट करना शुरू किया US को, पार्लियामेंट का पहला अटैक इंडिया को भी कॉस्ट पे करना पड़ा. अब जब हम भी अटैक में आ गए तो हमारे लिए कोई चॉइस नहीं है इन इज ऑलवेज बीइंग क्लोजर टू सोवियत. डायलेमा ये है कि रशिया के साथ भी क्लोज रहो, US के साथ भी क्लोज रहो. तो ये हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है. लेकिन हम इस चैलेंज को मेंटेन कर लेते हैं ये बताते हुए कि रशिया इज ऑल सीजन फ्रेंड. इसके कॉस्ट पर हम कभी इंडो-US रिलेशन डेवलप नहीं करेंगे सर.
राइट. Ravi, to you now. Elections of US are always held on the first Tuesday of November. कोई specific reason है? Why?
Sir, specific in the sense that it is because of the time it was decided. 1845, sir. 1845 में most of the population was involved in agriculture at that time and Christian. So there are 2 things. They call them secular, as Neeraj sir was saying, but here is an example where we can say that they are not so secular when they decide their things. तो यहाँ पे आपको 2 चीजें देखने को मिलेंगी सर. पहली चीज जो ये क्रिश्चियनिटी की वजह से they chose not to have elections on 1st of November because वहाँ पे सर उनका एक All Saints Day होता है. So that is why, because most of the Christians celebrated, plus जो वहाँ की मार्केट मर्चेंट्स थे उनका सेटल डे होता है सर 1st of November, लास्ट मंथ का जो भी सेटलमेंट करना होता है. Then they have to choose something after November, because why November? क्योंकि सर यहाँ पे इनका जो हार्वेस्ट सीजन है उस टाइम पे, अगर हम एग्रीकल्चर को देखें, आज वो प्रीडोमिनेंट नहीं है उनकी इकोनॉमी में, बट उस टाइम पे था. तो इनका यहाँ पे जो ऑटम हार्वेस्ट का सीजन होता है उसको अवॉइड करना था, प्लस जो स्प्रिंग का प्लांटिंग सीजन होता है उसको अवॉइड करना था. तो दे फाउंड द मंथ ऑफ नवंबर विच इज मोस्ट सूटेबल. प्लस दिसंबर में सर काफ़ी जगहों पे बहुत ज़्यादा कोल्ड हो जाता है, तो उसे भी अवॉइड करना था, हार्श वेदर को भी. दैट्स द सेम रीजन लाइक वी टॉक अबाउट इन इंडिया कि अप्रैल मई में ही क्यों होते हैं इलेक्शंस. सो दैट्स व्हाई दे चोज नवंबर. नाउ द डिस्कशन वाज विद रिस्पेक्ट टू डे कि अब नवंबर में किस दिन रखना है. सो दैट इज व्हाई दे हैव टू अवॉइड 1st of November नाउ. देन संडे को नहीं रख सकते थे सर, क्योंकि बिकॉज ऑफ संडे दे पीपल यूज टू गो टू चर्च, अगेन क्रिश्चियनिटी, एंड दे यूज टू गो टू चर्च. सो दे हैव टू अवॉइड संडेज, मंडेज एंड सैटरडेज, because at that time the voting used to happen in the city centers, and these farmers or agricultural people have to come to vote, so they have to travel, so they cannot have voting on Saturday, Sunday and Monday, and that is when they decided to go for Tuesday, sir.
Okay. Dear friends, डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के बारे में कहा जाता है कि the biggest threat is his temperament. You never know कि what decision he will take and up to which extent he will act or react. तो एक ये सबसे बड़ा जो एक थ्रेट कह लीजिए वो है वर्ल्ड के लिए, वो है his temperament. Secondly, his policies are directly or indirectly may favor India because he almost hates China, and once there is a reaction with the China, अगर Chinese goods are taxed more, टैरिफ ज़्यादा कर दिया है या फिर इम्पोर्ट ड्यूटी ज़्यादा लगा दी, विच इज़ प्रपोज्ड ऑन हिज मैनिफेस्टो कि 60% इम्पोर्ट ड्यूटी लगाएंगे. इट मीन्स दैट कि इफ़ इट हैपन्स देन देयर इज़ ए चांस दैट कि इंडिया में गेट बेनिफिट. और यूएस की बहुत सारी ऐसी कंपनी हैं जो अभी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग चाइना में करती हैं, जैसे चाहे मोबाइल फ़ोन हो, सोलर पैनल्स हैं, और अगर चाइनीज़ गुड्स में इम्पोर्ट ड्यूटी बढ़ेगी तो चाइना भी रिएक्शन कुछ करेगा. सो देयर में भी ए चांस दैट कि दोज मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनीज में शिफ्ट टू इंडिया, सो इंडिया में गेट अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑफ द एम्प्लॉयमेंट एंड द प्रोडक्शन. तो ये एक इसमें पॉजिटिव हो सकता है, बट लेट अस वेट फॉर द पॉलिसीज टू बी फ्रेम्ड एंड इम्प्लीमेंटेड. पीयूष जी, हाउ दिस ट्रंप गवर्नमेंट, Trump 2.0, will impact or might impact the India's foreign policy?
So first important thing, ki what Trump think about India, that is a very important part. First important thing to understand, ki Trump simply want there should be world peace. So the burden of the war and conflict should not be over United States of America. They wanted their regional partners to take care of their own conflicts, and American help to come them in more or less a commercial format or a kind of mutual agreement. So Americans believe that, I mean Trump believe that India is a key partner in bringing regional stability. Now in bringing regional stability, they are ready to enhance, elevate India and US defense tie to certain extent. And what is going to be happen in this defense tie? Their technology transfer is going to be very speedy. There could be more defense agreement, like in last term they had a SISMO and they had a BECA agreement. So there is a chance that more agreement is going to be possible, and there will be a regular supply of weapons to the Indian side, I would say even on the higher end technologies. Now this is the one thing. The second important thing, what bothers India, specifically in South Asia, specifically what is happened in Bangladesh. Now that is going to be settled down to certain extent, because this Bangladesh so-called advisor, national advisor, there is no such legal post he is holding, but still he is dealing with the whole country basically. So he has a personal connection with Biden, and there was American help to them in sustenance. And now there is a chance that Biden government, this Trump government is going to ask so many tough questions and maybe some tough stance.
So
against
this also
the
will help India.
Obviously, I mean definitely, I mean there may be chance of the re-election, there is no chance of return of Sheikh Hasina was it, there is a chance of restoration of democracy. So ultimately and it is going to benefit Indian side basically.
US and India, they act together. In restoration of the Bangladesh government, there is possibility.
There is a high possibility of, and if even US not go direct into that, but they will push India to do it, because as they perceive India as a key partner in regional stability.
And how do you see the impact of the Donald Trumps in peace of the Russia-Ukraine?
I see it in very different perspectives, sir. Definitely the peace is going to be over there. The peace is something like further supplies to the Ukraine is going to be stopped. And now it will be asked to the Putin and Ukraine to settle down and start the negotiation. Definitely peace will be brokered by Trump only, and Ukraine is going to lose lot of territory without any doubt. But anyhow, Trump have to win something for the United States of America, so that deal seems to be a win-win condition for America and Russia. I'm not talking at all about Kyiv or Ukraine. They are ultimately going to be in the loss, and it will be message to their European friends also, to the NATO, because for a longer time the burden of the NATO was on the soldiers of US. That is going to send a message to them. They need to be very active partner, and not only in terms of providing soldiers and ammunitions, but also some extra funding over there to further carrying on NATO basically. I'll just add on one more dimension to it. Like recently Biden administration keep on speeching India regarding this Khalistan issues and the continuous support to the Canadian government was there. Now here India is going to get lot of relief.
I think India is going to get relief in many fronts. One becomes the West Bangladesh front.
Yes.
Second becomes the Canada front. And third becomes the, because of the Russia-Ukraine war relief, India will have the better tie-up and the benefits from Russia as well as from the Western countries.
Yes, there is a chance, because if this,
Middle East, sir.
yeah,
even if the war is over, that simply means Russian free supply of the oil. I mean, supply of the oil will be there, supply of the wheat will be there. So automatically prices are going to be slashed down, which ultimately going to benefit.
If it happens.
Yeah, it is going to be. It is going to be, sir. Because there is no option. Ukraine is having to continue this war. There will be no further supplies.
इससे ये पता लगता है कि one country and the change of the head of a country, how much it has the influence worldwide.
So I would say one country, that should be America. That should be America basically.
No, even if you see the one country, Israel, and how this Israel alone has the impact or influence or disinfluence in the entire Middle East. तो वो हर country के साथ में है.
मतलब अमेरिका के साथ में थोड़ा ज़्यादा है.
Obviously, they are the superpower, तो वो है. Coming to US President's power, तो नीरज, how do you see the powers of the US President? कितने हैं, क्या हैं, ये क्या नहीं है उनके पास? It's better to find what is not with the President.
Sir, when we talk of US, it is a presidential form of government. So naturally, the President is having very wide powers in comparison to our President. And much wider powers than even the Prime Minister has in India. Because in US the President is directly elected and he has got powers which are executive in nature, legislative in nature, and some judicial powers also. So if you look at the powers, the most important things we have to understand is the moment the President is elected, he will join office on 20th January. Now he is already the waiting President. So in this intervening period of around 1.5 months, the President will have to appoint at least 6,000 important officials in different levels in the federal government. So 6,000 appointments will be done even before he joins the office, because they have a concept of shifting many important officers along with the government. So that is the power of appointing important people. They have the power to appoint judges. They have the power to appoint important members in other such important federal government institutions. After that, whatever appointment is done by the President, they are confirmed by the Senate in USA. So in US, they have the system of President appointing and then Senate confirming. So secondly, when we talk of legislative powers of the President, he has got very important veto powers. Any important law which is passed in the American legislature in US Congress, they have the President has the right to give assent to the bill. Only after that it will become a law, where they have veto powers. They can return the bill within 10 days to the American Congress with its remarks that we need to change this provision. Ultimately, the House will have to get the bill passed with 2/3 majority to overcome the presidential veto. So that is why it is a very, very important power which is not present in our case.
तो इसी क्वेश्चन को आपसे सिन्हा जी पूछना चाहता हूँ कि हाउ द इंडियन प्रेसिडेंट एंड द यूएस प्रेसिडेंट आर डिफरेंट.
ये सर मैं हाईलाइट करना चाहूँगा कि डियर मिस्टर नीरज के अदर साइड ऑफ कॉइन में हाईलाइट करूँगा. इंडियन प्रेसिडेंट को हम लोग जनरली एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल हेड की तरह से देख लेते हैं. सबसे पहली बात जी सेरेमोनियल हेड, लेकिन कुछ पॉइंट्स है सर. फर्स्ट पॉइंट, President is bound to comply with the advice of Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, but there is no time frame. Time frame कुछ नहीं है. This is the reason the Office of Profit Pulpit Dr. Kalam बिल लेकर के चुप बैठे रहे. उसके बाद रिकंसिडरेशन के लिए भेज दिया. आफ्टर रिकंसिडरेशन, इवन देन प्रेसिडेंट नॉट बाउंड विद इन टाइम फ्रेम. ही मे सेंड द बिल फॉर ओपिनियन ऑफ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया. दैट इज हिज डिस्क्रिशन. सो फर्स्ट फॉरमोस्ट क्वेश्चन आई लाइक टू हाईलाइट कि इंडियन प्रेसिडेंट को डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में नहीं मिला है, लेकिन इंडियन प्रेसिडेंट कैन यूज डिस्क्रिशन ऑन नंबर ऑफ केसेस. पॉइंट 1, वाइल रिएक्टिंग ऑन अ बिल पास बाय पार्लियामेंट. और अमेरिकन प्रेसिडेंट रोक नहीं, अगर 10 दिन उन्होंने होल्ड कर रखा तो क्वालिफाइड वीटो हो जाता है, वो अपने आप पास हो जाता है. इंडियन प्रेसिडेंट अगर होल्ड करके रख दिया तो बिल को डेड कर देंगे, वो कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता है. सेकंड थिंग सर, व्हेन नो पार्टी हैज गॉट मेजॉरिटी इन पार्लियामेंट, लोकसभा, it is discretion of president to invite or not to invite, whom to invite. Third, if the government has lost majority on the floor of Lok Sabha, whether to form alternative government or to dissolve Lok Sabha, that is up to discretion of the president. Fourth, president can use pardoning power on his own discretion also. Consulting, not consulting is his choice. Based all this, sir, and finally, American president has no role in election of the governors. But Indian president has major role in not only appointment, selection. So it is the appointment as well as removal. Both is, of course, on the advice of Prime Minister, but president plays key role in appointment and removal of governors.
दोस्तों, मुझे इस बात से फ़र्क पड़ता है कि मेरे जेब में डॉलर कितने हैं, इस बात से फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता कि मैं दिखता कैसा हूँ. तो इंडिया की भी कुछ ऐसे ही है, पूरे वर्ल्ड में आज यही है कि हाउ दिस ट्रम्प गवर्नमेंट इज गोइंग टू बेनिफिट इकोनॉमिकली, एंड इंडिया इज मोर वरीड अबाउट द इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट्स, एंड एवरी कंट्री इन फैक्ट विल बी वरीड अबाउट द इकोनॉमिक चेंजेस. So Ravi, to you now, talking about the how this Indian economy is going to be impacted by the Trump government.
There are multiple sectors which we believe, if what Trump has said in his speeches comes true, are going to get impacted. फर्स्ट, जैसे कि वो बोल रहे हैं एंटी माइग्रेशन, या जैसे अभी सर ने भी बोला कि हमारे H1B वीज़ा कितने डिक्रीज हो गए थे, 28% रिजेक्शन रेट हैज इंक्रीज्ड. दिस इज गोइंग टू कॉस्ट अ लॉट टू आवर IT sector. IT sector, because our IT services, out of total output of our IT services, 54% is exported to US. And with this help of H1B visa, we were able to send engineers from India to USA to work over there, which was helping these companies to get cheap labor, if I could say, cheap white collar labor from India.
Cheap labor word मत use करो.
Sir, white collar, sir, white collar.
Cheap talent बोलो.
Talent, yes sir, cheap talent. तो अब वो जो है सर वो एक्सपेंसिव हो जाएगा, क्योंकि अगर वो इंडिया से नहीं भेज पाएंगे तो उन्हें यूएस से हायर करना पड़ेगा. एंड अगर वो यूएस से हायर करते हैं इंजीनियर्स, देन देयर कॉस्ट विल इंक्रीज, सो देयर प्रॉफिट मार्जिन्स माइट डिक्रीज इन द फ्यूचर. That is the first thing. Second is, sir, pharmaceutical sector which can get impacted. Again, हमारा जो total pharmaceutical sector का output है 30% और 1/3 is getting exported to US alone. But अभी Trump has been focusing कि जहाँ पे वो बोल रहे हैं this kind of a nexus that has been created by pharma companies where the drug cost has been increased, वो उसे normalize करेंगे, उसे decrease करेंगे.
Down करना चाहते हैं.
अगर उसे वो decrease करेंगे तो सर जो इंडिया से export हो रहा है वो कहीं ना कहीं decrease होगा, क्योंकि वहाँ पे जो manufacture हो रहा है वो सस्ता मिलेगा.
फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज भी तो यूएस को डबल कॉस्ट में बेचते हैं, बाकी कंट्रीज को आधे कॉस्ट में बेचते हैं.
तो सर उनका भी प्रॉफिट मार्जिन डिक्रीज हो सकता है, वो एक हमारे लिए कॉज ऑफ कंसर्न है. फिर अगर हम बात करें कि जो अभी सर रशिया के बारे में बता रहे थे, वो एक थोड़ी सी हमारे लिए अच्छी न्यूज़ हो सकती है कि अगर वो सच में पीस, ही वाज एबल टू ब्रोकर पीस ओवर देयर. तो एट प्रेजेंट वी हैव अ लॉट ऑफ प्रेशर कि हमारे पास वेस्ट और यूएसए से बहुत प्रेशर है कि रशिया के साथ रिलेशंस को अच्छे नहीं करना है, ट्रेड नहीं करना है. अगर पीस ब्रोकर होती है तो ये जो इतने भी सैंक्शंस लगाए गए हैं इनके हटने की प्रोबेबिलिटी इंक्रीज हो जाएगी. ये हटेंगे, प्लस ऑयल सर ने बताया मार्केट में इंक्रीज होगा, व्हीट मार्केट में इंक्रीज होगा, तो इन्फ्लेशन डाउन होगा और इंडिया का ट्रेड उनके साथ बढ़ पाएगा. तो इससे हमारे इंडिया के अंदर भी इन्फ्लेशन डाउन होगा कहीं ना कहीं, और इंडिया को जो ट्रेड हम जो अभी रुके हुए हैं वो ट्रेड अगर हम कर पाएंगे तो इट विल हेल्प कि हमारे पास दूसरे एवेन्यूज ओपन होंगे. यहीं पे सर चाइना के लिए बहुत एक इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है कि जो आपने अभी डिस्कस किया कि चाइना के ऊपर अगर टैरिफ लगाते हैं और साथ में MFN स्टेटस हटाते हैं तो इसका इंडिया को बहुत बेनिफिट हो सकता है. एंड ट्रम्प आज से नहीं, पहले भी जब वो अपने फर्स्ट उसमें थे तो उन्होंने चाइना +1 पॉलिसी पे वो बहुत फोकस करते हैं, वेयर दे आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड अ सब्स्टिट्यूट of China with respect to this manufacturing, and that substitute could be India possibility.
एक तो manufacturing only substitute. India is the only substitute which I see.
नहीं सर, वो actually manufacturing पे भी depend करेगा कि कितना इंडिया में shift होता है, because they have the opportunity now. India has to create a market, provide them infrastructure and such policies so that that manufacturing shifts to India only.
Sir, just add on करूँ, एक बहुत interesting phenomena है. Elon Musk ट्रम्प के साथ हैं और इन्होंने सीधा सीधा कहा है कि ग्रीन एनर्जी और ईवीज को लेके ही इज नॉट इंटरेस्टेड एट ऑल एंड ही इज मोर इंटरेस्टेड दैट द ऑयल एंड डीजल शुड कम बैक बेसिकली. सो हाउ दे आर गोइंग टू स्लैश डाउन the EV market over there and increase the traditional vehicle market over there, that is going to be seen very interesting over there. I do believe one of the reason is because of the because of the Chinese EV supplies that keep on rising, and recently everyone know Europe also raised tariff barrier against the China supply EV to European. So that is going to be very interesting basically to watch.
Related to electric vehicles, India also supplies a lot of the parts to the US companies, and if that policy restricts the promotion of EVs, though some of the Indian companies will have the setback in the initial phase.
Yes. In fact, one of the positive thing is going to be happen if there will be less H1B visa. Then the more talented engineers will remain India basically.
But here I have one my opinion. That opinion is that like, make in India, work in India. So make in India is one part. Now it will be the work in India, the second part of the Modi government will come out. Now the talented people should work in India.
Already the internship scheme is there.
But again, sir, it will actually hit the people where the skill issues are there.
But don't you think that filters are always to pass the garbage and to retain the pieces? So the best people, they will be still given the visas.
That's going to be happen. But obviously, if the ratio is around 30% reduction, that number is going to be used. If you check out the number of PIOs and NRIs over there, so number
But I don't think Trump 1.0 will have the same policy in Trump 2.0. They will come out with these certain changes and
definitely they'll come. But look, we should not forget at all. Trump is a businessman and his way of thinking is always more in transactional and commercial.
And always uncertain.
That's
you never know what is going to happen. Ravi, again to you. What are the expected policy features of the Trump government which we think that these new things will happen apart from the discussed?
So, economic perspective, maybe as sir has mentioned, we are going to have stronger ties with respect to strategic and defense with USA because USA sees India as the only substitute in this region to create a balance against China. So, कहीं ना कहीं जो चाइना के अगेंस्ट में उन्हें एक पावर चाहिए वो इंडिया है एंड वी हैव रिसेंटली सीन दैट इवन बिफोर कमिंग टू ट्रम्प वी हैव साइंड अ मेजर डील MQ-9B drones and all those things. These kind of things are going to increase and our defense import is going to increase from there. प्लस जो हम चीज़ें उन्हें सप्लाई कर रहे हैं लाइक पर्ल्स ज्वेलरी दिस इज ऑल्सो गोइंग टू इंक्रीज एंड जैसे ही चाइना से डिक्रीज होगा एक्सपोर्ट तो कहीं ना कहीं इंडिया के मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को और इंडिया को एक बहुत बड़ा एवेन्यू मिलेगा कि हम अपना एक्सपोर्ट इंक्रीज करें. ऑलरेडी हमारा ट्रेड जो है वो बैलेंस पॉजिटिव है यूएसए के साथ मोर और लेस सर्विसेज की वजह से बट वो कहीं ना कहीं कमोडिटीज़ में भी रिफ्लेक्ट हो सकता है.
There is a question asked by the Trenian Kaldia. How this election result will affect India's de-dollarization attempt? Anybody would like to answer? De-dollarization attempt.
Actually, in the recent BRICS summit, India and China and Russia and other members of BRICS, which has been extended recently, they have talking about having a common currency and reducing the role of dollar as the reserve foreign currency asset for most of the world. So, and Trump has a very clear policy on this matter. They have said that we will impose very heavy sanctions on countries which try to do that. So that is something which we will have to see forward how we are able to manage that development.
But sir, the other reason why they were going for de-dollarization was Russia, the sanctions on Russia. If those sanctions are removed, then I think that talk in the BRICS will also subside.
That is right.
Iran.
सिन्हा जी आपके पास आ रहा हूँ. The India-US nuclear tie-up 2005. Almost it was a failure, I will say.
Failure.
What are the reasons?
सर टू द पॉइंट फर्स्ट थिंग मैं हाईलाइट करूंगा कि सेम यूएस ने पोखरण 2 के बाद इंडिया पर टफ इकोनॉमिक एंड टेक्निकल सैंक्शन लगाया. उसके बाद इंडिया ने जब न्यूक्लियर कमांड बना लिया 2003 में तो यूएस को लगा कि इंडिया को किस तरह से इसके न्यूक्लियर डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम को इस स्कैनर में लाया जाए, सर्विलेंस में लाया जाए. तो बुश एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने, मनमोहन सिंह साहब प्राइम मिनिस्टर थे, उन्होंने ऑफर किया 2005 में इंडो यूएस न्यूक्लियर डील. उस डील में अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट डील US was going to supply safer nuclear technology to India, but nuclear fuel for that reactor has to be supplied by NSG 48-member group, and NSG supply nuclear fuel to only those countries who have signed NPT. So in a way, directly, indirectly, US administration pushed India to sign NPT and get nuclear fuel, which India till date never ever accepted and refused. Why so? If we sign NPT, we have to open our all nuclear reactors for international inspection. Right now we have 22 reactors, excluding that Kudankulam plant. Out of 22, 14 are civil, 8 are military reactors. Whether there is something or not something, we don't know, because that only nuclear national security advisor knows. But yes, even then, we don't want to open our military reactor in order to maintain our nuclear sovereignty. So the point is that we will not sign NPT, so not get nuclear fuel, so nuclear technology is failure. We just said one point I would like to add here. Because of that, we got compelled to have deal with Russia in 2009, which US was trying its level best to pull India back from Russia. But we signed nuclear deal with Russia in 2009, which led to establishment of 2 Kudankulam plant of 1000 megawatt each, commercially viable plant in Tamil Nadu. Another 2 megawatt, 2 units are already under construction. So by reducing dependency from US, we have the increased dependency on Russia. Once again, I would say Russia is all season friend. We will never compromise any relation at the cost of Russia.
Okay. Piyush ji, I would come to you. Talking about the two things. One is Donald Trump is talking about our borders getting fenced, stopping the illegal immigrants to the USA. Second, he is on the other hand talking about the good relationship with the neighbors and the other world countries. How both the things are going to happen and how this Donald Trump's world peace policy is going to work.
So to understand this thing, sir, first I would suggest you to understand Trump's realism basically. Trump realism is very different from the earlier president realism. Recently there was a poll in Chicago. In that the topic of the poll was whether America should get engaged with the other countries or should maintain or stay out of their regional affairs and their internal affairs. And 53% voted in favor of staying out. And this is what exactly Trump's way of thinking is, that I won't say it is a policy of isolationism, but the policy of engagement only where Americans are getting a benefit, and there is no need to take the burden of you can say either arms ammunition or any type of burden in the rest of the part. So this is the old policy which US followed during their First World War and to a certain extent even Second World War. So he is more looking forward to go for the same policy on the name of American First policy. So his world peace program is going to be like all the regional programs or conflicts could be dealt by the regional players only. So if I would say that how Trump is going to talk to Netanyahu, he's saying this is your mess, clean that mess. And my support is that there will be no pressure over you for the releasing, for the talking about the hostages. There will be no pressure over you for the ceasefire. As long as you can go for the war and settle it down for once for always, go ahead is that. When it comes to the helping Israel, that is relatively questionable, but what I believe, the Jews lobby played a very important role in Trump's victory. So there is a high chance that the assistance to the Israel is going to be continued. Now the second, as I explained it earlier, in the case of Ukraine also, they do not want to be again spend anything over there, want to send a very strong message to the NATO player. So they are going to follow the policy कि भाई क्लियर करो अपना में, सेटल करो इसको. एग्जैक्टली, एंड दिस इज हाउ ही इज गोइंग टू सेटल डाउन. देखिए इस पूरी कहानी का जो सार है ना वो ये है कि अमेरिका अब दुनिया में किसी भी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के लिए अपने पैसे और अपने रिसोर्सेज नहीं करेगा. दैट इज व्हाट द मेन लाइन ऑफ ट्रम्प वे ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग. और उसको स्टेबिलिटी इसलिए चाहिए कि उसे बिजनेस.
इसका मतलब है कि हम पीस को देख सकते हैं आने वाले समय में, एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं.
अब ये थोड़ा मुश्किल काम है कहना, लेकिन हाँ
नहीं, कई कुछ गवर्नमेंट की एक अप्रोच होती है लड़ाओ और उसमें अपना बेनिफिट देखो, और यहाँ पर अपना बेनिफिट है तो क्यों.
मतलब आई जस्ट कोट वन थिंग, एस्ले टेलिस ने एक बार कहा कि अमेरिकन्स आर लिबरल फर्स्ट एंड द रियलिस्ट सेकंड, बट ट्रम्प इज सेइंग कि दे आर द रियलिस्ट फर्स्ट and the liberal second basically. So this So this is what I think. America, if not intervene in Latin America, Africa, in Asia, then the conflict may spread and have a spillover effect. But if America withdraw from Europe, then definitely there will be peace. So the approach is not going to be the same in both of the areas or in all regions basically.
So lastly, I will come to you, Neeraj. Once the president of US is elected is for 4 years, but suppose there is certain urgency to remove the president. So what is the process of impeachment in US?
सर
और क्या कोई ऐसे एग्जाम्पल हुए हैं इम्पीचमेंट, एक तो इम्पीचमेंट अटेम्प्ट्स और इम्पीचमेंट एग्जीक्यूशन?
सर सबसे पहले तो जब हम इम्पीचमेंट टर्म यूज करते हैं यूएस में, तो इम्पीचमेंट इज नॉट फुल रिमूवल ऑफ द officers, whether we talk of the president or judges or any other such important people. Impeachment means House of Representatives में एक proposal लाया गया and that proposal has been passed with simple majority, जिसमें grounds होते हैं conviction for bribery और misdemeanor, high crimes, ऐसे कोई भी charges हो सकते हैं जो extra constitutional भी charges हो सकते हैं. Impeachment US के president का अभी तक 3 presidents का impeachment हो चुका है. एंड्रू जॉनसन पहले प्रेसिडेंट थे, 1868 में उनका impeachment हुआ. उसके बाद बिल क्लिंटन 1998 में हुआ. And Mr. Trump was the unique case where he was impeached in 2019 once he was the president, and in 2021 he was impeached after he was not the president. Impeachment के बाद वहाँ पे Senate में एक दूसरा process होता है, which is called as conviction. In that process, the Supreme Court judge of USA, along with a committee of Senate, they investigate the charges. If the charges are found to be true, so it is like a court trial. If the charges are found to be true, then there is a voting in the Senate where 2/3 majority is required to finally remove the person from office. तो वो removal सर आज तक किसी का नहीं हुआ. और उसमें सर एक और जो लास्ट चीज हमें इंपॉर्टेंट जो याद रखने के लिए स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, कि इंडिया में प्रेसिडेंट के इम्पीचमेंट के बाद का कुछ लिखा हुआ नहीं है कि वो आगे डिस्क्वालीफाइड होंगे फिर से प्रेसिडेंट बनने के लिए या नहीं बनने के लिए. बट यूएस में सेनेट के पास ये पावर होती है कि जिसे एक बार रिमूव कर दिया, उसे वो एक सिंपल मेजॉरिटी से प्रपोजल पास करके आगे के लिए डिस्क्वालीफाई भी कर सकते हैं.
दोस्तों, यूएस प्रेसिडेंट के लिए कुछ क्वालिफिकेशन क्राइटेरिया भी हैं और उसमें सबसे अहम क्राइटेरिया है कि द मिनिमम एज इज 35 इयर्स. दूसरा, ही शुड बी बॉर्न सिटीजन ऑफ द यूएस, कि सिटीजन वहीं के हों और वहीं पैदा हुए हों, पैदाइशी सिटीजन हो. एंड थर्डली, he should have been at least 14 years there in the country before the election. तो ये 3 अहम रिक्वायरमेंट है. और इसके अलावा यूएस प्रेसिडेंट बनने के लिए यूएस का जो सिटीजन होना काबिल भी होना चाहिए, इंडिया की तरह नहीं होना चाहिए, कहीं से भी ला करके उसको प्रेसिडेंट बना सकते हैं. सो दिस वाज द डिस्कशन. रवि, आपके पास लास्ट कमेंट के लिए आ रहा हूँ. आई बिलीव दैट कि देयर विल बी नाउ पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट ऑन द क्रिप्टो करेंसी. डोनाल्ड ट्रंप का डायरेक्ट और इनडायरेक्ट जो इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, तो डू यू सी दिस इकोनॉमिकली cryptocurrency?
Present, if you see the markets, Bitcoin is at the peak right now. It is at the highest price right now. But in future, I think the Trump is already going to focus on its dollar more as compared to cryptocurrency. So the focus might not be that on cryptocurrency, but yes, the other associates which are working with Trump right now, I won't name them, but they have a keen interest in Bitcoins and cryptocurrency. So we are yet to see.
The way Elon Musk has involved himself with the Trump campaign, many things will be influenced by Elon Musk also.
So if not EVS sir has mentioned, then there are certain other things which will be.
मेरे सर, मैं एक पॉइंट ये करना चाहूँगा कि मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग में कि अमेरिकन इकॉनमी वॉर इकॉनमी है, वो आर्म्स अम्युनिशन बेच करके ही जिंदा है आज तक. मेरी
तो इसका
अंडरस्टैंडिंग
मतलब है कि दुनिया को लड़ाना पड़ेगा.
जी, लड़ाना पड़ेगा. वो डिस्टेबलाइज करते रहेंगे वर्ल्ड को डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली, ताकि उनकी हम ही जो इतना आर्म्स इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, हमारे चारों तरफ जो टेंशन क्रिएट किया है उन्होंने क्रिएट किया है, और तभी हम वी आर फोर्स टू हैव सो मच ऑफ आर्म्स फ्रॉम यूएसए. बिकॉज ऑफ दैट यूएसए इज गिविंग सो मच ऑफ फेवर टू अस.
सर एक्चुअली ट्रम्प का, सर जस्ट टू इंटरप्ट सर, ट्रम्प का एक्चुअली जो कैंपेन था और जो हेरिटेज फाउंडेशन की जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं, दे आर एक्चुअली सर ट्राइंग टू चेंज दिस फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम. दे आर सेइंग कि हम अमेरिकन डीप स्टेट को ही डिस्ट्रॉय करना चाहते हैं, जिन्होंने उनको वॉर इकोनॉमी बनाकर रखा हुआ है. इसीलिए सर एक्सपेक्टेशंस और वो जो एंटिसिपेशन है वो बहुत ज़्यादा है इस बार.
बहुत ज़्यादा है.
राइट. एंड व्हाट इज द टेक ऑन फ्रॉम दिस डिस्कशन टू द स्टूडेंट्स प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द सिविल सर्विस?
Sir, I would like to say एक तो पॉलिटी का क्वेश्चन, because we have mentioned in the syllabus comparison of Indian constitution with that of other democracies. So वहाँ पे ये सिस्टम प्रेसिडेंशियल और प्राइम मिनिस्ट्रियल सिस्टम और उनके इलेक्शन का सिस्टम, एक सर ने जो IR के लिए अभी क्वेश्चन लिया था, तो IR स्पेसिफिक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. प्लस एक कहीं ना कहीं इकोनॉमी इम्पैक्ट क्या आने वाला है, IR एंड इकोनॉमी मिक्स भी हो सकता है.
सर वही पॉलिटी में सर नॉर्मली ये देखा गया कि जब भी इंपॉर्टेंट इलेक्शंस प्रेसिडेंट के बाहर में फ्रांस में यूएस में हुए हैं तो अगले साल हमारे प्रीलिम्स या मेंस में कहीं ना कहीं उस पर क्वेश्चन पूछे गए हैं।
लगता है कि ट्रम्प पॉलिसी इन एशिया पैसिफिक या इंडो यूएस डिफेंस ट्राई, हाउ इट इज गोइंग टू बी एलिवेटेड, और हाउ ट्रम्प इलेक्शन विल इम्पैक्ट इंडियाज पॉलिसी टुवर्ड्स मिडिल ईस्ट और टू द साउथ एशिया, दीज आर द मेजर एरियाज।
फिना जी, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
Indo-US relations, Indo-US relation through bipolar, unipolar, multipolar world, what is going to happen now?
दोस्तों, this discussion it is focused to the UPSC students. हालांकि कोई भी आप देखेंगे किसी भी एग्जाम की तैयारी कर रहे हो या ना कर रहे हो, it is a benefit to gain the knowledge. We would also suggest you to download the PDF of this discussion, और ये हमारे वेबसाइट में जाकर के आप हर एपिसोड का PDF डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। आपको ये डिस्कशन कैसा लगा, हाउ डिड यू फाइंड इट, एंड यू मस्ट गिव योर कमेंट, सजेशंस, फीडबैक, and we will definitely incorporate your suggestions in the upcoming discussion. You should, if you can suggest some of the topics which you would like to get discussed in this discussion, we will be happy to discuss those topics. And till then, thank you very much. Stay happy, stay safe. Jai Hind.